I'd like to welcome you back to another special afternoon edition of the Foul Playland. As always, I am Sir Foul Player of Brooklyn, and you come on to my show, which I've now titled Behold. I hope you guys have had a wonderful day here in New York City area, which I live, East Coast. It's extremely muggy, disgusting weather. My is killing making these shows is a large help in days that my mobility is lacking. As far as what's happening in the news, most of what's playing out as far as in mainstream media is the general reaction to these ICE protests. And the main story that's riveting up this afternoon is a reaction to that, in which you had a California senator, a congressman, I believe, Alex Padilla, storming into the press conference of the person that runs DHS, I believe, and that's Christy Nome. And it was a press conference which I didn't wasn't listening to. I only saw the arrest video, but while this congressman or senator stormed into that meeting that Christy Nome, or that press conference that Christy Nome was having, he came into the press conference and was subsequently arrested. A lot of people I mean, I guess have a large reaction to this. Most people on the conservative right on Twitter site, which I frequent a lot and I read a lot. Most of the people on the conservative right on Twitter were framing it as kind of like just something to chuckle over, and I am sort of aligned with that thinking myself. The liberals on Twitter and in the mainstream media were making it seem as if um, it's evidence that this congressman or senator Alex Padilla that got arrested, the fact that he got arrested for protesting Trump's policies or barging into a press conference that's announcing Trump policies that was being held by Kristi Noem, he's framing it as if him being arrested for doing so is evidence of the tyranny that we're living under in the Trump administration. But liberals are going to liberal. They're going to frame everything that happens while Trump is the president as some sort of Auschwitz type, conditions. Like, but I'm not surprised by that one iota. I'm also much surprised by a liberal politician being arrested for a public display, and because liberals are known leftists, hyper leftists in today's society, are almost allowed to have these outbursts and in public places, and for it to be just accepted because they're dealing out of emotion, whereas conservatives, according to most of the media and honestly, like the uninformed observers, that they always feel as if conservatives operate from just looking for money and racisms. Conservatives only go on racisms. That's their principal focus. I mean, and that's not the truth, unless you're hyper liberal. I mean, and you want to frame things in a light that's not reality. Um, but the need for this congressman Alex Padilla of the state of California acting out for a cause that he deems important to him, which is the stance that the liberals, as far as their politicians go, have taken throughout the video. Wow, was I not speaking this whole time? If anybody was listening to me and you could comment like whether I was talking or not, I thought I was live for like a few minutes already. But if anybody could, please, if they do happen to be listening, maybe put a one if you just started hearing me talking now, because I've been talking for what I thought was about 5 minutes. But again, am I surprised by a liberal politician being arrested for a cause that's entirely unpopular with not only liberals but Americans throughout the country are adamantly opposed to mass migration. I mean, a lot of them weren't signaling such in recent history because of the labeling that happenings by the emotional hyper left. You know, it's okay when the hyper left does name calling, and I've been called all sorts of names. Again, you know, as a Puerto Rican from Brooklyn, New York, just conversations that touch on minor things that aren't even attacking liberals, so to say, because I don't consider Joe Biden a hyper liberal, especially politically. Up until recent history, Joe Biden wasn't really considered liberal, quote unquote. And his policies reflected that as much. But criticism of Biden, me personally, Puerto Rican guy from Brooklyn, New York, grew up in Section 8 my whole life, I would get labeled mostly on the internet. Um, you know, things like as if my positioning was based in racism or just a bunch of baloney. I mean, honestly, like, you know, and a lot of that talk is kind of like itself. And one of those is kind of like itself. Yeah, I'm having issues in terms of my internet. It's frustrating, but trudge along. But most positions that liberals take, it's almost like accepted that they're able to act out emotionally, and you have to just register. Oh, they were in their feelings on that particular time, and that's why they acted out. Oh, I just acted out because I hate all these racists. Well, you know, so it's kind of like lacing you with a position of I may be dealing with a really emotional person, or I may be dealing with a really emotional reaction by saying that I am not cool with um, migrants storming into New York. You know, and a position like that would be rebutted by people online as with oh well you're racist, and even if you tell them I'm Puerto Rican like from New York, oh well you must be one of those kind of Puerto Ricans, you know. And it's like liberals that kind of get away with with that kind of talk because that kind of talk is racist. I mean, like for me, I think that's racist to even label me in that direction, especially by liberals who are largely white boys, honestly. You know, and that stuff wouldn't happen in person. I mean, like, you know, they the objection would be a lot more heartfelt. I mean, but online, I mean, like, and I could honestly say that I've never been labeled a racist my whole life. I in person, where I live most of my life, not the internet. Yet, saying that or noticing that Joe Biden's presidency sucked was a lot of times countered with accusations of being racist. And this is me personally. I can't imagine, you know, some regular standard like white guy like, you know, trying to contend any of this stuff. And again, another caveat in all this is in person. I mean, I'm never the one to hold my tongue, and I'm very much into contending my points, to put it plainly. And this is not something that I did in person on college campuses. This is something I've done in the hood. You know, I've never been a songbird and lived my life indoors when I grew up in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, a neighborhood that I still frequent, and I just left living there my whole life. You know, but I've never been called a racist or something to that effect. But these last 3 or 4 years, I mean, noticing that liberal policies don't work, in spite of the fact that I lived in them my whole life. You know, I've been called probably not racist outright, but a lot of times people will try to throw something underhanded in like saying that you may feel a certain way because of some racist undertone, if you will. It's just weasel talk that happens like with liberals, and it's very frustrating to navigate through. I was actually showering before I made this video, and I think as a principle, I'm not gonna really talk to people like or debate with people that come from a position of I just don't like Trump. Because if you don't really like somebody and that's your position, I mean that's not that I'm trying to defend Trump, but it's really hard to get past like any sort of regular back and forth discussion when a lot the person when the person that you're talking to is running on the basis of I just hate this guy, I just hate this guy, I hate this guy. And especially now, in spite of the fact that this country, the United States, in these past couple of years has gone through such a wreckage, you know, when you're trying to debate these points, and a lot of the responses are basically a stream of TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. What's the point? I mean, I want to do this channel. I mean, from here on out, more along the lines of trying to bring news that is really not at the forefront. A lot of the news that you're gonna get has some sort of tinge of trying to frame Trump in a certain light, and I don't want to try to frame Trump in a good or bad light. But one thing that isn't reported in the mainstream media is the fact that the hyper liberal left, the people that finance them, and all their tentacles throughout the world, are at a fast rate being shown for what they are, one. And two, a lot of the messaging that they've been pumping is now looked at with a really, really, really heightened sense of caution. Like, a lot of parents are starting to have conversations of what are my children being taught in school. Why am I paying for my daughter to go away to college only to come back a blue-haired whore? Um, and I'm gonna talk about a lot about this because in very, very recent history, I've been in a college setting, even though I'm an older man. As far as being a student, and it's kind of giving me a lot less hope for what we got going on. And to me, I look at like the youth of today, like the college crowd, if you will, that are from 18 to 21. That like crowd has been sequestered in a lockdown for at least 1 or 2 years while they were students, while they were kids. Like some of these kids were living in a lockdown mask. Some of them still wear masks, but most of them don't know how to interact with each other. Like I went to school maybe like 10 years ago, and I went to school this past year, like in a college setting, both of them. And one thing I didn't see was many people, especially men, like trying to really chase after women. Every setting I've been in, like whether that's work, whether that's in sports, whether that's with the music industry or entertainment, everything as far as men goes was centered around the fact of how women were reacting to men. Like I want women to react favorably to me. Whereas now, whether that be in the manosphere and like the alpha male like type dudes, like they're like seem as if they're not interested in building with women, nor are the pussified, frail college kids that I went that are attending college life in a college setting as a student, as far as me being a that are between the ages of 18 and 22, men or boys seem to have zero motivation in chasing after women neither. I mean, and we're in a bad place as a country if those are the conditions that are laid out before them. Because you have the manosphere types that are, tougher men, and a lot of times men of means, people that actually have their finances in order, that are not interested in women. In addition to the frail, like liberal type college kids are also not interested in women too. Just an observation, a rant, if you will. But going back to this congressman that got arrested today, the DNC and the Liberal Party, the left of America, are willing to get arrested for a cause that's largely unpopular, like immigration. Um, and if they want to go about and arrest themselves, which is basically what this Congressman Padilla did today, for a cause that's in the toilet, like mass migration and non-deportations. Because I mean, a lot of people, when it comes to the deportation topic, are more fast becoming more pro deportation. But this fool, I mean, I don't see many. Could pretty much predict that Mr. Padilla has never gone to Los Angeles or California prison to vouch for so-called black dude that was done unjust, that had to deal with the unjust system. I could guarantee you that Maxine Waters, who was trying to barge into an ICE prison in Paramount, California, I believe, um, when was the last time that she went down to the prison to advocate for a so-called black man that was done unjustly by the system in the last couple years? I'll challenge you. But when it comes to a migrant class of people that benefit, people like Alex Padilla and Maxine Waters, by having more um, numbers in terms of the census in California, that gains them seats as far as electoral votes. So they want it with that reason, and that's why the reason that natives of America, like my so-called black brothers, who are done unjustly, you'll never see many so-called minority politicians couching any cause on behalf of them. They basically want their emotional capital, like for causes like anti-immigration, begging so-called black people to go down to these protests and align themselves with radicalized migrants and liberal white people for a cause that doesn't benefit them, for a cause that benefits people that are just getting into the country, for a cause that benefits more new people to enter into the country, into the neighborhoods of so-called black people or so-called Puerto Ricans like myself, who's living in a neighbor, comes from a neighborhood that is totally inundated with migrants, and that's Chinese migrants in addition to newly arrived migrants, and all of these people are illegal and doing far better than the people that have been living there for decades. And that's Puerto Ricans. I mean, like, and it's not, I'm here riffing about it because I feel like Puerto Ricans are done unjustly. I mean, Puerto Ricans need to pick up themselves by the bootstraps far more than what they're doing now. And you have a lot of Puerto Ricans like myself, but that are, contrary to my opinion, hyper liberal, and that's not benefiting us one iota. But I'm not here to couch for Puerto Rican causes. Ultimately, I'm saying that people of my neighborhood, Sunset Park, Brooklyn, were pushed out of my neighborhood in large part due to Chinese immigration during the 90s and the 2000s, and now the new school southern border migrant wave that is totally financed, bought and paid for by the New York City taxpayers, and the bulk of these people are situated and made to reside in hood areas. Every New York City hood has now had some semblance of a migrant problem during the Joe Biden administration. And that's the central issue right now being fought for, advocated for um, by liberals. Right now, liberals, politicians, including Maxine Waters, are willing to risk being arrested. The Congressman Alex Padilla actually was arrested while advocating for this stupid cause. But let the implosion keep happening. Let the media keep covering it how they want to. More people are turning away from the media and from the liberal lunatics that are around throughout the world. Another topic I wanted to touch was the No Kings uh, protests that are being planned to coincide with Donald Trump's 250th anniversary of the Army celebration that he's having. I had talked earlier regarding a text that my lady received unannounced. I mean, like, it was unsolicited by somebody trying to recruit her to attend these protests. It gave links and everything, and I think the links wanted you basically to take some sort of crash course into how to protest and whatnot. It was just sketchy. Sketchy in the sense that, one, my wife didn't solicit this text. Secondly, this No Kings protest, which is, I guess, in trying like to protest the fact that Donald Trump is the presidency and that they're trying to say that he's behaving as if he were the king of America. But this No King thing, No Kings protest is seemingly extremely inorganic. A lot of people on Twitter were talking about it this past couple weeks, saying that there were reports of similar instances of like the text that my lady received, where they were getting these unsolicited texts to trying to sign up for this No Kings movement that was that's supposed to be happening this weekend. What I make of that, I mean, I read a story as well that they may have been $73 million that were somehow funneled into this No Kings cause in order to try to get this counter protest going. But hopefully it results to nothing. I hope it's a grand nothing burger. Honestly, when I was showering before I made this video, what I hope comes of this No Kings protest, which is unorganic, some liberal lunatic, hyper financed by outside agencies. What I hope comes of it, though, is that it's all or nothing burger. Nobody attends, and that we have a riveting turnout for the 250th anniversary parade that basically quells the fact that nobody, or basically highlights the fact that nobody um, is interested in a large scale counter protest to what seems like a really American celebration in the 250th Army celebration. If there's any points that I'll remember regarding any of this, I'll go back to it. But last thing I want to touch on, I'm going to make this a short stream, is the RFK hiring, actually the RFK firings that have been happening. I think RFK fired like 14 or 17 panelists in the CDC or the FDA. I don't give a shit. People that should go. I mean, like, my stance on all that stuff is one of, as far as the recommendations of medical experts, I'm going to be entirely more guarded, and I think a lot of other Americans and people throughout the world feel that same way, in that they don't trust the experts, seeing as how you have the likes of Fauci who are now admitted to basically lying in much of what they were recommending, and there was no science behind any of it. Um, a lot of the people that were fired were likely um, by well, a lot of the people that were fired in the CDC or whatever agency RFK Jr. is running currently were likely fired as holdovers from the Biden administration. So I mean, like the Biden administration, if you guys don't remember, were really gun ho about pushing the jabs and were actually taking celebratory laps when they discussed getting the airline industry in large part vaccinated by way of mandates. And I remember Joe Biden actually was saying that, like, gleefully, that he pretty much pressured the aviation industry at in 99% rate of vaccination. And a lot of people are now hesitant of anything related to the pharmaceutical industry, and that's how things should be. I mean, like, I think a lot of times we leave it up to expert class and expect that if something's really wrong, that the mainstream media or the medical experts are going to be alerting us. And frankly, the mainstream media and the expert class as a whole right now are highly compromised at a minimum, and we should operate in that capacity rather than waiting upon being disappointed by a bad recommendation. If there's anything medical, and this is not medical advice, but far more, people should be getting out there and stop being behind these computer screens and phone screens. Get out into reality, and that, in many ways, helps rectify anything you got going on as far as your body. Sunlight is the greatest elixir. But damn, love are the 1 second. I'm gonna show the kittens. Yeah, I'm gonna give you guys a before I take off a special kitten cameo. 1 second. Again, this is the nicer of the two grizzly. Um, he's the bigger one as well. Hold on, I'm just trying to get my camera adjusted. Don't mind my hairy furniture. But this is one of the stray kittens that I found. Oh, my wife found trapped over the weekend. I got adopted today, but he hasn't graduated from the school of frisky strays. Look at it. Look at the violence that this man is enacting upon me. So cute. Yeah, I love this little guy. He's very cute. Look at these fantastic paws too. Look at that. Look at that. So with that, I lost pretty much all the traction on my channel by showing you Grizzly. Shame on you. People came for politics, and here you are showing kitten tree. But with that, I'm gonna take off. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I'm hoping the Edmonton Oilers are able to tie the Stanley Cup Finals against Florida. Getting sick of the powerhouse that Florida is creating as far as the Panthers go. Look at this little panther right here. So cute. Love you. But with that, let me take off. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you for stepping into the Foul Playland. Do help me by sharing my content, liking, subscribing. The YouTube algorithm is not very kind to your friend that you're listening to at this current juncture. So you could help me beat YouTube and the wretched algorithm by being a real human being. Commenting also too, that helps me a great deal, in that I feel like I'm conversating rather than blabbing. But liking, subscribing, watching my content in general. I mean, it's a big help. I am getting a little bit more traction of late, thankfully. I don't know why, but I hope that you guys continue in supporting of me. With that, I am Sir Foul Player of Brooklyn. Wishing you a good night. Peace.